Two fonts, same phrase, but one sold over 5,000 times and the other, zero. Well, today we're breaking down why using real life examples. I'm Shimmy, and my mission is to help you create best-selling designs. I've been sharing everything I possibly can relating to designs in my community, and we have so many people creating best-selling designs. For now, let's break down this design and discuss the reason why it was able to make over $100,000 in sales. This is the design in question. This is the main design, and around it you'll see I've gathered other designs to compare and kind of contrast. The phrase, "Oh, for fox's sakes," is a classic example of a double entendre, a phrase with two meanings. It works because it's cheeky and has scroll-stopping shock value. It's one of the most effective humor techniques in print on demand. And according to a study by Attest, 60% of best-selling graphic tees on Etsy incorporate humor or sarcasm, and 78% of those use some form of wordplay or pun. Just like this. It's edgy, but it's not so offensive, cheeky enough for adults to wear without getting judged. Now, remember, if you're using humor in your designs, you need people to get it instantly. Getting it after thinking about it is too late, and it simply won't work. Right, so now that we've discussed the phrase and why it works, let's actually go through each element of this design, the text, the colors, the font, all of it, comparing it to the others that got no sales so we can really understand the thought process behind the font, behind the graphic, and behind the colors used. Now, the winning design here uses a grungy, handwritten marker style font, and this makes the phrase feel like it's being shouted or, I guess, muttered in frustration, which matches the phrase perfectly. Chris Du, a branding expert a lot of people know, calls it font voice, meaning every typeface speaks, and in this case, this one here is screaming. Let's compare it with the failed versions, the ones that got zero sales. The clean lines that you can see here, the polished, nice fonts, it removes the punch. It's like you're whispering the joke instead of shouting it like it needs to be. For example, we've got this one over here, zero, well, I guess Fox is given, and it's gone for this kind of very book-like Times New Roman style font. And it just doesn't really match the overall theme. In fact, this doesn't match being on a t-shirt, period, but even more so on this kind of t-shirt. And then you've got this one where, in all fairness, the fonts that you've got here is very good for a t-shirt, but it doesn't work with this particular t-shirt. It's not screaming, "Oh, for fox's sakes." It's screaming like I'm a cartoon angry character from a Disney movie. On top of that, they haven't actually matched these two fonts. So they've gone for two separate fonts, which is okay to go for, but if you're going to do two fonts, you have to ensure that they match. And here they clearly don't match. Now, if we compare that to the font that we've got here, this, like I said, handwritten marker style font, it really adds to the angry nature of the saying, the frustration, and it really hits the emotion of being annoyed and saying this sentence out loud. And that's the important thing here when it comes to the font. You can see the kind of font used here. This is Fox Insurance. So not only is the graphic very similar, we're going to talk about the graphic in a minute, but you can see the actual font that they've used, Fox Insurance, it's just very similar, right? Or Fox Security Services, or Fox Insurance Solutions. You can see this is the kind of font they've gone for here. It's like a very corporate logo or something kind of style. It's not a t-shirt. It's not what people want to wear on their chest. Now, with this particular design, the graphic plays an integral part of the overall design. If it just said "Oh, for sake," it would make absolutely no sense. So even though we have our normal design principles, which I share over here, where it's placement, then phrase, and graphic and font color, with this particular design, the graphic actually plays a very, very vital part, and it just wouldn't make sense without a graphic, and even more so, it wouldn't make sense without the right graphic. So now that we've established that the graphic is easily the most important part here, it must match the font. It must match the phrase. The fox in the top-selling design is hand-drawn, right? It's distressed, and it perfectly matches the marker style font. It looks annoyed and it's matching the emotion of the phrase. If we compare it to the failed versions, well, let's have a look. The first failed version is, as I said, this one here, where it looks like it could be a law firm or some form of security company or insurance company or something like that. And this one next to it, well, I don't really know what they were thinking here, but not only is this really, really obviously AI, which we don't ever want to do. I mean, look, there's nothing wrong with doing AI. I'm a full believer that AI can help us with this business, but you don't want it to look like it's AI. You don't want it to look like there's zero effort being put in. So on top of the fact that this really just looks like a very low effort AI job, it also doesn't match the overall theming. If anything, this is more of like a Disney fox. I mean, if you have a look at this is a fox from a movie, and as I've said here, can you guess which Disney movie this fox is from? Let me know in the comments if you can guess what movie this is from. I'll be quite impressed. But what you're seeing here is you're seeing a design here where it's more targeted at children. And I would probably see a design like this in a children's book or an illustration or something like that, or maybe like a sticker, again, for a child or a child's book. You wouldn't see this on a design where the phrase is meant to say, "Oh, for fox's sake," right? Where fox is clearly another word, right? So because you're not going to get kids wearing this because of the phrase, it's too much of an adult phrase for a kid to be wearing. And you're not going to get adults wearing this because no adult will want to be seen with this child-friendly, strange, kiddie-looking fox, right? So you have to remember who your audience is, and you have to realize you are making a design for your audience. You need to speak to your audience. So what this person has done here is they've seen a popular phrase and they've said, I'm going to go and make something similar. But what they've done is they've completely forgotten who their audience is, and they've just made something that they think looks good, but actually it just doesn't fit. Nothing is blending here. And I've also gotten some other graphic styles of the fox. So I wanted to kind of play a little game here. We've got, 10 different foxes here. There are 2 foxes on this page that would match this particular design with this kind of grungy font, right? It's clearly not going to be this realistic one over here, right? It just isn't. It's not going to be this one. This, again, looks like it's taken from an insurance company. This one looks like it could be an internet browser. This one is perfect for a children's book, right? And you can see, again, this is actually very similar to the other one. And then this one is just from a cartoon CGI movie. 2 that would work is this one, right? Again, it's got that hand-drawn, grungy feel to it, and the light color tones, it just blends in nicely. Or this one, which was used with AI, which was made with AI, and I specifically made it with AI just to show you that even if you don't have the artistic capabilities of creating something like this, or any of these kind of difficult things to create, you can create the right style of fox with AI. So if we put this fox here, it would still match. Maybe I would make the colors a little bit different. I would try and match the orange of the t-shirt a little bit more. I'd try and match the blacks a little bit more. I would maybe get rid of this excess over here. But for the most part, it would match really, really nicely. So that's an important consideration when you're creating a design, that the graphic, if you have a graphic, needs to match the tonality of the saying and of what you're trying to accomplish here. Now, another important consideration is the font and the graphic combination. They need to blend. We want to avoid mixing conflicting visual tones. The successful design here uses one cohesive visual voice, a grungy text, and a wild-looking fox. It aligns style, message, and mood. The combination of the failed designs, well, what's happening here? It's all wrong. Not only are the individual elements of the font and the graphic wrong, but the 2 don't actually match at all. I'd actually argue and say that this one, the 0 given and the fox, do kind of match if it was an insurance firm. So for example, you've got a very similar fox here and you've got a very similar font there, and that looks good. That's a great logo for this insurance agency. So I guess you could say that this does match. It just, they haven't really understood the assignment here for a t-shirt design. Now, color and contrast play a big part in this design as well. A 2021 Printful study actually showed that shirts with higher contrast designs were 42% more likely to get sales versus designs with a medium contrast design. So the black and the orange that you can see here really pops, and the distressed style adds texture and grit to the design, further emphasizing the overall theme of this design. So you can really see how easily this just pops. Now, we put placement on the top of our checklist, as you can see here, right? Placement is always the most important. It's vital. And to be honest, placement on all three isn't actually bad. The technical placement that you can see in these designs is pretty good. But just because placement is the most important thing, it won't fix a bad disconnected design, as we can see here with these two that have gotten absolutely no sales. The placement's okay, but the design just isn't. We can go even deeper to why this shirt works. For example, the emotional simplicity here. This design triggers a very, very strong, very relatable emotion. Frustration. One of the most shareable and wearable emotions, as it's funny, it's safe, and it diffuses a potentially frustrating moment instantly. Now, on top of that, we also want to remember the 6-foot test. Designs that are legible from 6+ feet away are 3 times more likely to be clicked on marketplaces like Etsy, Amazon, Redbubble, and this was found out in a case study by Printify. So this design, being big, bold, and clear, easily passes the 6-foot test. You can see I can zoom out and you can still see, oh, for fuck's sake, nice and clearly. Now, we can dive into this design for hours. I love breaking down a design and really understanding why it works. Now, having done this for so many years, it's allowed me to very easily find winning designs, create best-selling designs over and over and over again, and understand quickly why someone's design might not be performing as they hoped. We go into crazy design depth in the Design Hub, which is a community I made specifically helping people with their designs, because even though most people would vote that marketing is their biggest problem, after surveying thousands and thousands of students and members and seeing tens of thousands of designs, it's almost always a design issue and very rarely a marketing issue, even though most people pick marketing issue. So check out the Design Hub for high-level design training, live calls, design coaching, all for an incredibly low price. And always remember, you can't just slap a funny phrase on a shirt and expect it to sell. Every element, every font, every graphic, every color has to tell the same story. And don't worry, by the way, if this sounds like an overly complicated approach to design and print on demand as a whole, it really isn't. Almost all of these things happen instantly in my brain when I see a design. And after some practice, the same will be for you. You won't have to think of all these things for hours and hours. You'll just get it. And you'll be able to very quickly identify what is good and what is bad and know when you're onto something big. It just takes some learning. So let me know in the comments down below if you like this style of video, if this style of video was helpful. And in the meantime, check out the Design Hub. I'm really looking forward to seeing you in there, and I'm really looking forward to helping you create best-selling designs and get more sales.